I'm 35. I'm normal in looks and build. I'm self-employed. My wife, who is 33 years old, has been cheating on me. We've been married for 5 years. She is a housewife and takes care of all the housework and raising our son so that I can concentrate on my work. She wakes up at 5 every morning, makes my lunch, and sees me off to work at 6:30. During the day, she does laundry, clean, and eat lunch while taking care of my eldest son, who can be really energetic. In the late afternoon, she goes to the supermarket in front of the station with our son, does the shopping, and comes home and prepares dinner for us. She once told me the only time she could relax was to buy taiyaki on her way home from the supermarket and eat it. I was grateful to my wife, but I had not been able to express it properly to her. I regret that I was so busy with work that I was preoccupied with other things. Naturally, we weren't having sex, but eventually my wife wanted to have a second child. My business was starting to go well, and our future prospects were looking good, so we decided to try to have a baby together. A month later, my wife told me she was pregnant. I was so happy and excited. A few weeks later, my wife went for a prenatal checkup and told me it was a boy. My older son is also a boy, so I was excited that we were going to have a lively family. But at the time, she was 2 months pregnant. Now that I think about it, there was no way we could have known the sex of our child at such an early stage. But I am ashamed to say that I was clueless. I was clueless even though I had an older child. I didn't even know that the pregnancy lasts about 9 months. I didn't even know the term 10 months and 10 days. My second son was born about 6 months after that. Now, when I think about it in a calm way, I know that it was premature labor, but the baby was very healthy. I didn't know anything about it, but it wasn't until last month that I realized something was wrong. I came home late that day, which is rare these days, and my wife was already in bed with the kids. I quietly reheated dinner so as not to wake them, and when I went to the living room to eat while watching TV, I found a mother-child notebook on the sofa. She usually puts it away because it's very important, but I thought she must have been so busy that she forgot it, so I looked inside without thinking about it. I was horrified. I don't remember her ever showing it to me before, but the date of the checkups and the number of weeks of pregnancy were written carefully in it. The day she told me she was pregnant, she was already 5 months along. I hoped I was imagining things, but I decided to look at her cell phone to see if I could find any proof. Her phone was sitting on the living room table, unattended and unlocked. Thanks to this, I was able to easily see the text messages, but contrary to my wish, the contents were she was completely guilty. There were not only messages with her lover, but also a lot of photos of them while having sex. In one of her messages, my wife said, "I don't want to continue this relationship anymore. Please break up with me because we have a child and I will take this secret to my grave." But her lover did not seem to want to break up with her and was refusing to talk about the breakup. I suppressed the urge to vomit and secretly forwarded all the contents to myself. I'm sure that this man is the father of the child. My wife said she was going to keep quiet and let me raise the child with her, but I soon realized that she just wanted me as an ATM. I secured the evidence, put the mother-child handbook and her cell phone back, and went back to my room to think about what I was going to do. Divorce, or pretend I didn't know? If we get a divorce, what about custody? What about compensation and alimony? There were so many things to think about. I'm registered as the father of the second baby, so I also have to think about what to do about that. The problems are piling up. Looking back on my wife's past actions, she has created an environment in which I can concentrate on my work while having a small child. And I believe that is thanks to her selfless help that my business has been able to go well. She was truly my ideal wife until I found out about her affair. I realized for the first time that an affair can destroy everything in an instant. I'm not mentally strong enough to keep a normal mind like this, so I wanted to end the situation as soon as possible, so I posted about it on an internet message board. It was a place where I could talk about my wife's affair, and many people gave me a lot of advice. I was told that if I could afford it, I should hire a private detective as well as a lawyer, and I decided to do so. They told me that the younger child is definitely not my son, but then they said that the older child might not be my son either, and they advised me to have a DNA test done. As I was posting, I realized that sometimes when I came home, the bathroom smelled like smoke, and my wife said she had a friend over. But I realized that she probably brought her lover into the house as well. If that's the case, I don't want to stay in this house. I was advised to go to a business hotel or something if I had to. I said thank you and left the message board, saying that I would think about it a little more. The next day, my wife locked her cell phone. It was the day after I posted on the message board. I thought this must mean that she had already realized that I knew about her affair because she wouldn't lock her phone if she didn't have anything to hide. Then, I decided to make a move to settle the matter quickly. I lied to my wife that I was going to Tokyo on a business trip and would be gone for 2 days. During that time, she would call up her lover and have a secret meeting with him. If I can get them red-handed, I win. They would be cautious because they knew my wife was looking at that forum. But would they be able to hold out knowing that I wouldn't be back? If the two of them were too cautious, the entire day's worth of research by the agency I had hired might be wasted. This was a gamble. But despite my concern, the lover came to my house. I should have been angry, but for some reason I thought, thank you for doing that. The staff at the detective agency also took pictures and video of the moment he entered the house. We also set up a hidden camera in the living room and the bedroom so that we could record the scene, and we monitored it in the car. We planned to go in the moment they started having sex. The lover was holding our eldest son in his arms. The eldest son seems to have met him many times and was very attracted to him. The results of the DNA test were available at that time, and I already knew the eldest son was his as well. It is natural for him to be attached to his father, so it was a real family that was happily mingling in the living room of my house. While holding the eldest son in his arms, the lover was looking into the second son's face and smiling happily. And eventually, the eldest son fell asleep at nap time. The second son was still an infant, so he took a long nap. But soon after they confirmed that he had also fallen asleep, they began to undress while holding each other. Making sure it was recorded on video, the staff of the detective agency and I stormed in. My wife was absolutely mortified when she saw me. The lover tried to escape almost naked, but he was caught at the entrance by the detective staff. He would have been caught outside without any clothes on, so he should be rather grateful for that. My mother, who I had told beforehand, rushed to the scene and I asked her to take care of the kids. We took my wife and her lover to the lawyer's office, where I told her that I had looked at the cell phone and found the photos of the act. My wife started to get pale, and... No, I was gonna break up with him. You're the only one that I love. It's the truth, believe me. She cried hard. But it's too late. And when I told her that I had done the DNA test on our sons and that the pregnancy period listed in the second son's maternity record did not match the calculation, my wife just went silent. The lover was my wife's senior in her hometown, and when he came to Tokyo for a job transfer, they began to communicate immediately. After that, as she was being seduced by him, she started to feel closer to him than me, who was busy with work, and the devil got the better of her. The lover seemed to have liked my wife for a long time, and he had been complaining many times that he did not want to break up with her. I said to him, "If you want to be with her so badly, go ahead." I made my wife write the divorce papers on the spot. In the end, we agreed that my wife would give up her share of property and that they would pay $5 million each in compensation. After that, we discussed custody, but I had lost all affection for my sons. Some people would say that despite the fact that we weren't related by blood, we had spent time together as a family. It only sounded empty to me, and I couldn't accept it. So I told my wife, "I have no obligation to raise strangers. You should take care of the kids you have made elsewhere." That's what I told her. My wife said, "But they're half yours." It made no sense. What did she mean by half? They had none of my DNA. In the end, my wife and her lover ended up taking both our children in. I thought it was nice that they could become a real family again. My wife didn't want to divorce me until the end, but I ignored her and we got a divorce. But I was still angry, so I reported the affair to the company where the lover worked. Since I knew his identity and place of employment, I politely sent an email and photos of the affair to the president of the company. I don't know if that was the direct cause, but I heard that he resigned. After that, he remarried my ex-wife and returned to their hometown. Even if they were someone else's children whom I couldn't raise, I could not bear to see them become unhappy. Therefore, I didn't sanction him severely. But I heard that people who cheat once, cheat many times. I wonder if this family will be able to live happily ever after. I hope they will do their best. And after that, I wrote a report on the message board. Some people remembered me and praised me for doing a good job. You did a good job of thinking and caring about your children. You got compensation, and if you push too hard, you'll endanger yourself. You've won the battle. You need to think about your own happiness now. I couldn't see their faces, and I didn't even know who they were, but their words warmed my heart. I'm enjoying single life now, but if I have another chance, I would like to marry someone who would never cheat on me. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We look forward to seeing you again. Please subscribe to our channel.